Design Thinking at Work: How Innovative Organizations Are Embracing Design. By David Dunne. In this summary, you will learn the following. 1. What elements constitute design thinking? 2. Why design thinking has grown in popularity as a means to incremental and disruptive innovation. 3. What strategies are necessary to implement design thinking while balancing the three tensions common to almost every firm? Key points. The essence of design thinking, in many ways, involves identifying problems by seeing things that other people miss. Design thinking requires executive support for slow, reflective experimentation and systems thinking, not only for creativity. Spend time framing and reframing a problem or opportunity. Allow an indefinite period for experimentation, prototyping, discussion and reflection. Give design teams separate creative space while keeping them connected with your firm. Balance the team's focus on incremental improvements of existing products with their search for breakthrough innovations. Help the team balance internal and external stakeholder demands. Build credibility and support for your team by focusing first on quick wins. Develop a design mindset throughout your firm. Bake creativity into your culture. Emphasize the multiple perspectives of internal and external stakeholders, including the systems that new innovations must work within. Summary. Difficult magic. Design thinking focuses on users finding solutions that meet their needs while driving business value. Successful design thinking demands creativity and systems thinking. Design thinking helps you identify business problems and generate creative solutions through iterative development that involves feedback, experimentation and reflection. Outcomes often produce novel, creative and practical solutions, sometimes even industry-changing breakthroughs, but still must survive organizational processes. Design thinking requires patience and long-term commitment from designers, the organization and its leaders. The design process. When innovator Gerwin Hugendorn reinvented the umbrella, he didn't conduct market research or study umbrella history. He took umbrellas apart and experimented by reconstructing them in different ways. He drew pictures, pieced together prototypes, tested those prototypes in harsh weather and talked with people who tested them for him. He considered his results before starting the process again and again. He iterated his way to his first marketable product and, eventually, enormous success. Hugendorn's experience illuminated umbrella's shortcomings, so he dove right into experimentation. In most cases, designers first talk to and observe users to spot problems that consumers might take for granted but that a designer might recognize and fix. The essence of design thinking involves identifying problems by seeing things other people miss. While design thinking may be revolutionary for organizations, for most it is a slow revolution, more like lighting a candle than a fuse. Procter & Gamble (P&G) took this path in its billion-dollar Swiffer line of products. Designers went into homes, watched people clean their floors and asked questions. They zeroed in on what people hated most, the messiness and the time it took to sweep, get water, wet the floor, drain the mop and repeat. After identifying users' problems, P&G designers invented a tool that combined sweeping and mopping while eliminating the need for water. Exciting as design thinking is, it is not easy to apply. Design thinkers reflect on a problem before attempting solutions. They consider it from many angles and perspectives through a process called abductive reasoning or inventing possibilities. Through experimentation and prototyping, gathering knowledge and reframing, design thinking can solve the wicked problems complex organizations face, problems that often defy articulation. A disciplined creativity. Design thinking has caught on in the private and public sectors, but often manifests in a dumbed-down format that emphasizes brainstorming and wild creativity aimed at producing disruptive goods or services. Leaders embracing this approach often don't invest the time needed to recast and explore problems from all sides or to commit to indefinite prototyping, testing and reflection. The term design thinking is now well established. For organizations, what matters is not the label but its ability to provide a fresh perspective through its methods and iterative approach. A true design mindset is difficult to instill. Governments and other large bureaucracies might fund design labs and staff them with creative people, but often lack the discipline to leave their teams alone or the patience to extend them the runways they need. This light version of design thinking often fails, giving it and the real process a bad name. Smart companies accept the unpredictability of the process. They know it may deliver peripheral benefits beyond innovation, new product design or industry disruption. For example, design thinking often spurs creativity across the firm, lures creative hires or prompts critical thinking. It can spark collaboration across silos or encourage employees to consider customers' and other stakeholders' perspectives. Because anyone can participate, design thinking can be a vehicle for collaboration across organizational silos. Organizations such as the Australian Tax Office, P&G, the Mayo Clinic and the Government of Denmark's MindLab successfully install design thinking and sustain it through leadership transitions. The culture in places like a government department, a hospital or a manufacturing plant will clash with a design team's methods, most pointedly, its focus on experimentation over execution. But it can succeed in any determined firm. 3 tensions. In virtually every organization, leaders face similar challenges in implementing design thinking. The designer's need for distance and freedom from the dominant culture must balance against their need to stay near enough to the mainstream not to lose the internal perspective. Managers must help the design team balance demands from inside the firm with those of external stakeholders. Leaders' desire for design thinking to contribute to the bottom line must balance it with their hopes for truly disruptive breakthroughs. To implement design thinking successfully, your firm must overcome these critical challenges. 1. Inclusion tension. Design labs within bigger organizations, like the Mayo Clinic, face a culture clash. For example, doctors view experimentation as a process grounded in the scientific method. Designers go about it differently. They don't develop hypotheses and isolate variables. They prototype, fail, and reflect on what they learned. They repeat this process until they succeed or abandon the effort. Their process might not appear rigorous to a trained scientist, but what works for doctors doesn't necessarily work for designers. But if designers adopt the cultural norms of their organizations, they lose their advantage and relevance. Design thinking has much to offer large organizations. But the challenge of implementing it should not be underestimated. Resist the urge to protect creatives from the culture by isolating them in an off-site lab or creative space. This gives designers creative freedom, but they must remain sufficiently close to their organizations to produce innovations that address their firm's needs, and to infuse creativity and collaboration throughout their organizations. As a way to solve problems, design thinking has downsides for large organizations. It may not provide ready answers to the original question, instead questioning the question itself. To stay integrated and survive an organization's culture, design teams need executive protection. Provide cover and generate appreciation for design thinking and the process throughout your firm. Build broad support for design thinking by emphasizing quick wins, in which the design team helps existing lines of business improve. Develop clear success measures, whether you use a simple count of the number of successful innovations or measure culture change through employee surveys. Nurture your design team, give it time to blossom. Make sure the team establishes strong internal and external connections to keep new ideas flowing in the context of your firm's needs. 2. Disruptive tension. Design thinkers might aim at moonshots, the big, disruptive innovation that changes industries and grabs headlines, but organizations must improve bread and butter products. Gear your design team to look to the future to create disruptive technologies or products and to foresee disruption that might threaten the firm. Ensure that they maintain a separate focus on improving what the firm already does. Focusing simultaneously on small improvements and monumental change causes great tension. Design thinking programs need to maintain independence from the organization while being thoroughly engaged with it. Finding people with the skills and temperament to balance these demands, creativity that aligns with interpersonal, teamwork and administrative skills, is challenging. Small improvements are often more popular and less risky. Big disruption faces big resistance. Big firms rarely, if ever, disrupt themselves. Organizations have a way of silencing people, squashing creativity and encouraging conformity, especially during trying times when they most need creative ideas. This can give designers pause when considering whether to share ideas or counter opinions. Design thinking can bring fresh perspectives that are overlooked by other approaches. It can help develop empathy, pushing organizations to see things from the point of view of those affected. An initial focus on incremental changes and quick wins may give your team members the credibility, political capital and confidence they need to spend more time on long-horizon disruptions. Canadian Tire's Design Lab, for example, produced Christmas lights users control from their smartphones. The lights sprang from the design team's Internet of Things project, which they hope will change the game for the entire business in the future. By blending incremental and disruptive innovation, Canadian Tire largely removes this kind of tension. 3. Perspective tension. From a physician's perspective, your illness is the only issue. But from your perspective, it might be one of many issues you deal with daily. Many doctors limit their effectiveness in treating you because they consider only a narrow range of information and factors, those central to your physical health. Another doctor might see your medical condition from your perspective, through the lens of all your challenges, and then can provide a treatment that considers the system within which it must work. The survival of design thinking depends critically on support of leaders. This paradigm holds true in almost every business and profession. Designers, for example, can't afford to hold only a single perspective, whether their own, the users, their firms or an external stakeholders. They must balance and manage each competing need. Nobody can hold multiple perspectives simultaneously. Your firm's needs may be easier to keep in mind, because your colleagues are always around and your customers and other external stakeholders aren't. Establishing and balancing priorities creates perspective tension. Design is everywhere, in the hat we wear, the flower bed in our front garden, the paper cup we drink from. Great ideas, truly innovative products, sometimes don't survive first contact with the broader organization because people see and use things so differently, even within the same firm. For your intended innovation to survive implementation, consider the perspectives of both internal and external stakeholders. When the perspectives of all your stakeholders come into play, you generate wicked complexity, especially when you try to gauge the importance of each perspective in terms of your design. Some designers manage this tension by deliberately delivering unfinished products to put the onus on others to decide what to do with the solutions. This draws more people into the process and gains buy-in at the same time. Other designers take a hands-on role in implementation. This allows them to bring their design mindset to product management and administration, forcing them to adopt a systems approach and systems thinking. Best practice. Though design thinking has existed for decades, many still perceive it as an unstructured creative process rather than as a careful, reflective discipline. When you practice it well, it contains elements of both, and more. Adopt the following best practices to improve your odds of successful design thinking. Separate but connected, at least at first. Create a safe, close but separate space conducive to your team's creativity in layout, furnishings, and the like. Even if you prefer to spread designers out in various divisions around your organization, maintain a separate space where they can come together to exchange ideas and learn from each other. Foster communities of practice for designers to gather, share and discuss ideas, internally and externally. Inform and educate. Designers need leadership's strong support and appreciation. Educate top executives and the rest of your firm in design thinking and the benefits of a creative culture. Keep the organization informed of what your design team is doing, its processes and its progress. Source multiple perspectives. Look for a variety of perspectives on design from inside and outside your firm. Think about designing platforms for wide application, as opposed to one-off solutions. Help stakeholders understand how they can apply your innovations. Bring people inside your circle to share feedback and ideas through workshops and focus groups. Ask prospective users to test your prototypes, watch them use your tools, then discuss their impressions and ideas for improvement. Adopt a systems approach to design. Your solutions must operate within larger systems, and consider political, emotional, societal or environmental concerns. Expand your notion of stakeholders to consult with community and interest groups. Creating a structure. Understand your firm's innovation strategy and whether design thinking offers a good fit. Do its leaders want disruption or incremental improvement? Do they seek an organizational mindset or a cultural shift? Determine your ideal structure. A think tank setup may be best for disruptive innovation, while a distributed approach could be best for incremental innovation. Choose a design team leader who can garner and keep high-level support and who appreciates the importance of maintaining support from the organization. Find initial projects that can result in quick wins, and herald those successes company-wide.